with the K through 12 system is that we're using the same model we designed 100 years ago. And that's not the way to do education in the 21st century. Now, I would like to send 104 federal programs in 4 buckets back to the states so that the states can run education at the school board level. But you want to know, you know what the answer is. It's got to be you. To me, the biggest problem we have now is in a gerrymandered environment. Remember gerrymandering? People in town hall, they don't know a whole lot about politics, but everybody seems to know about gerrymandering. That's when you draw funny districts. So what happens is, I'm a Republican, they give me a safe Republican district, and then I got to watch for the extreme on my right. And if I'm in a Democrat district, I have to look for the extreme on the left, and it just polarizes people. That is a problem. Campaign finance laws, I'm going to tell you right now, you think I like billionaires being able to determine who becomes president? Because they put all their money in, they run all the ads? Of course I don't like that. I have to figure out what the better system is. You know, if I knew a few more billionaires, I might feel different, but I don't. You know what I tell billionaires? You want to help me? Great. You know what you get for it? Good government. Okay, and look, this isn't like something you just go check it out. Any politician will tell you, oh, I'm independent. Go check it out. The problem I've had is the media can't define me. John Sununu will tell you, you know, you need to be defined better. Okay, well, I mean, I'm hard to define. What's the other campaign finance? Term limits. I'm for term limits. We have term limits in Ohio. You know who's running the legislature too much of the time? Staff. So mechanical things can work. Now, term limits, I believe in them. Just make the term limit long enough that a person can learn the job before they get, right, Doug? Make sure they can learn the job before they have to leave. They can't learn the job the last year they're there. But it ultimately gets down to character. And that comes through leadership at all levels, not just one level. It's how you get a department to run right. Move the welfare department, all that, move it back to the states. Move the transportation back to the states. Let's move the education programs back to the states and get the government to do what it's supposed to do and let us do what we can do. And you know, you worry about highways in this state. Let me give you my idea. I mean, we voted on it a bunch of times. We tax ourselves and we send our money to Washington for gas tax. And they got committees down there. I'll take you to committee sometime. It's really something. You talk about monopoly, okay? You go to committees, and then they use their wisdom to divide up our money. So they wanted me to build a high-speed train, Ruth, a high-speed train that would go 39 miles an hour. Ruth, you could run faster than that train. And all it would do is put you in the hole. So here's what I suggest. Oh, by the way, then after they divide all this up, they send your money back and you get less. So why don't we do this? Why don't we send a couple pennies to Washington to maintain the interstate system so we can drive across the country, and then we don't send any more. And we keep all that money here in New Hampshire, in Ohio, in Minnesota, wherever, and then we fix the roads the way we want to. And if they raise the gas tax, then all the money stays here. It's your choice. You can't even toll a road that has a federal dollar in it. I mean, you can't because the rules prohibit you from doing it. So I would get rid of all the rules, all the regulations. We'll send a couple pennies to maintain the interstate. You can even have a tax cut. You can even say, okay, I don't want to have that many dollars being spent because now we keep this, quote, federal money. Makes perfect sense. You know who doesn't like that idea? The committee. Okay? The committee doesn't like that idea. So these are the kinds of things that we need to do, and we know how to do them, and we know how to do them responsibly. See, that's part of the other issue. You can't come with crazy ideas and get stuff done. Right, Doug? You can have bold ideas, but the numbers have got to add up. You can't just have some throw it and try to stick it on the wall. You won't get any votes for it. They talk about a flat tax here now, okay? I'd love to have a flat. We're starting all over. How many of you think, well, you do it over time?
and you do it three ways. One is you kill unnecessary regulations that get in the way and strangle small businesses' ability to function. Number two, you reduce taxes, which gives you economic growth. That's exactly what I've done both places, cutting taxes in Ohio, cutting taxes in Washington when we got to the balanced budget. And three, restrain government spending. Treat it as though it's your own budget. If you treat it as your own budget, you begin to look at things under the lens of what works, what don't we need, what can we fix. And those three processes are what get you to a balanced budget. So in Ohio, I went from $8 billion in the hole, 20% of our general revenue fund, to now a $2 billion surplus with taxes, with reforming government. The same was true in Washington. So I have a plan now to get us back there again by restraining regulations, by restraining the growth of government, and by cutting taxes, all of which gets us to a balanced budget. But as we approach the balanced budget, we're going to have the job creation that we all want. So one thing feeds off of another, and it has to be a rational plan that can be accomplished. So I've done it before, and I know I can do it again. We have to get it through the Congress, and the President, that's glad I went back to you. The President I would propose that, and it would be up to the Congress to vote on it. And then we would work on it because most of the states would like it. But there's a few states that wouldn't because they get the money from New Hampshire to go to their state and you get less. So we may have to think about, okay, do we wean them off the program? Because what we know is that if the states can control these dollars with fewer regulations and the states can determine their priorities, that's what's going to make these dollars stretch and go longer. So we have to change that law, and I would be willing to fight for that. And I think you could win that over time. You'll have to do some compromises along the way, but you could probably get it done. And then you could have better roads. Okay, thank you. And so that would be the second thing. Let me give you another one that we're creating. I wanted to create a people's court. And somebody told me that Judge Wapner had already taken that, okay? But let me tell you what we are creating. I would propose an independent group of people where if there's a federal regulation that you, sir, that you find is ridiculous, that you have a group that you can go to who interface with the regulatory creators to fight for you and get those regulations changed. Yep, and no regulation over $100 million should be put into effect unless Congress votes on it. And then you got to go back and start looking at stuff. So stop the flood, okay, get somebody to stick up for you, and begin to reverse a lot of these rules and regulations. That's what you have to do. And it's not easy, but can be done. Yes, sir.